So it looks like Bambi is next up to get Disney's live action treatment. And in true woke Disney fashion, they're changing the story. Alright guys, this is something I just feel the need to talk about because this has rubbed me the wrong way. If you're going to make a live action movie, fine, whatever. If you've been on my channel before, you know I'm not a big fan of Disney's live action movies. I just don't think Disney can come up with anything original, so they're making all their classics live action. Whatever. But if you're going to do it, stick to the story. Because now they're changing Bambi in a pretty dramatic way. Now there is a caveat to all of this that I'm going to put in later in the video, so make sure you stick around long enough to hear that, because if you don't, some of this may not make a whole lot of sense. Now, screenwriter that was attached to Bambi's live action movie, Lindsay Anderson Beer, says that there's a whole generation that hasn't seen Bambi because of the scene where Bambi's mother dies. First off, I'm wondering, how does she know who has seen Bambi and who hasn't? My kids have seen Bambi, they absolutely love it. They've seen it multiple times over. But in an interview with Collider, she says, not to spoil the plot, but there is a treatment of the mom dying that I think some kids, some parents these days, are more sensitive about than they were in the past. And I think this is one of the reasons why they haven't shown it to their children. I highly doubt that's the reason they haven't seen Bambi. There's lots of options out there. Maybe they just weren't interested in Bambi. Again, my kids have seen it. They're okay with Bambi's mom dying. It's a major plot point in the movie. Because when Bambi's mom dies, he's then forced to go live with his father, who's king of the forest, and now he has to follow his footsteps in becoming prince of the forest. So if you eliminate the death of his mother, what is now Bambi's story? What is his journey? Because that's pretty much the whole premise behind this movie. The hunters are a danger to the animals of the forest. The hunters are what Bambi's father is protecting all the animals from. He warns the animals when they're near. So this is a pretty major change, not just for that one scene, but it changes the entire storyline and basically all of Bambi's journey. Now, Lindsay Anderson Beard did continue saying, I do think there is a way to update Bambi. And I just think that to be able to bring it to life for kids these days in a way that maybe they can relate to a little bit more would be a service to the original. I don't see this servicing the original at all. I really don't. And if kids today can't handle that little scene, it's because of feeling the need to change it. It's not that the kids are becoming more sensitive, it's because we're making them more sensitive by doing things like this. Kids are subjected to that scene for decades, and they're perfectly fine. They're not traumatized by it. They may be saddened, but not in a way that's going to change their life. It's part of the movie. Movies are supposed to be emotional. They're supposed to pull you into the story, and that's exactly what Bambi does. When my kids saw it, they were sad. Oh, Bambi's mom died. Very, very sad. But they understood the story behind it and what happens. And, you know, life goes on. There's life, there's death. All this stuff needs to be explained to kids. But when we remove all this, that's what's making them sensitive. Now, I know I'm ranting because this is, again, rubbing me the wrong way. I don't feel the classics need to be changed. There's absolutely no reason for it. If you want to make a live action movie of the classic, stick to the source material. Now, there is a caveat to all this. I said that in the beginning of the film, and that is that Lindsay Anderson Beer is no longer the screenwriter for the live action movie because she has had far too many projects on her plate and she's walked away from this one. Now, she is making her directorial debut in Pet Sematary Bloodlines. She's also attached to the retelling of Sleepy Hollow, and she is doing the reboot of Lord of the Flies. So for those reasons, she stepped away from this project, but from what she's saying, that is the direction that Disney's going with this new live action movie. So there is time for this to change. Maybe the new writer that is taking over will leave the storyline alone. Maybe they won't. The way that Lindsay Anderson Beer is speaking, it sounds like that's the direction that Disney in general wants to go. So we're just going to have to wait and see what happens with this. But if you're going to change the story to another classic, it's going to be a disaster. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe button on your way out if you haven't already.